Hey up everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking about when I think these undefeated fighters are going to lose that 0 on their record. To start off, we have Khamzat Chimaev, and I think he's going to lose his first fight in his next fight against Robert Whittaker. I just think Robert Whittaker is just a different level. You know, his other big wins against welterweights, Kamaru Usman was a welterweight and arguably should have won that fight as well. And for Khamzat, I just think his cardio just isn't good enough. I think he's a great fighter. Again, it's just his cardio lets him down so much. And I think he's going to dominate Whittaker in the first round, but then after that, I think he's going to be in for a long night and Whittaker's going to get a decision win. After this, we have Movsar Evloev, and like Khamzat, I think he's going to lose his next fight. He is scheduled to take on Aljamain Sterling. I'm very much interested in this fight. I think it's quite, maybe a 50-50. I don't know. I think it might just go in Aljo's favour just a tad. But I think Aljo's going to beat Movsar. And even if Movsar gets past Aljo, probably gets a title shot, I think Ilia Topuria beats him. So for me, I think Movsar loses his next fight. After this, we have Mick Parkin. And I believe he's going to suffer his first defeat in about 2, maybe 3 years, possibly. I just feel like the heavyweight division really hasn't got that many fighters, so it won't be long until he's getting into the rankings and, you know, fighting better opposition. And that's when I see a few problems starting for Mick Parkin. I don't think he'll be as good as his, I think, training partner Tom Aspinall. But I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be a decent fighter in the rankings. But I believe he's going to lose his first fight in the next 2 or 3 years. We then have the one-eyed man, which is Sharabullet. And I believe he's going to lose his first fight in his next 3 to 4. I think when he gets a bit, maybe on the edge of the rankings is when he'll lose his, first fight. I don't see the hype with this guy. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's shit. But I just don't believe the hype like many other people do. I think he's very fast. I like watching. His striking is nice to watch. It's very entertaining. He's very versatile. But when it comes to the grappling, you see such a big hole for him. I just don't see him getting out of that hole, really. And, you know, the whole thing with the one eye going on, I'm pretty sure he can only fight in Abu Dhabi because of the restrictions of having one eye. So I don't know how that plays a part as well. Like, obviously that's gonna affect him in some sort of way, in a negative sort of way. But yeah, 4 fights, I see Sharabullet losing his first fight. And then we move on to everyone's favourite MMA fighter, which is Garry. And I think he's gonna suffer his first loss in his next fight, but hear me out. It depends who you match him up with. You know, we could still go down the route and give him Colby Covington. And I feel like if he fights Colby, he actually has a decent chance of winning. I actually think he beats Colby Covington. But then if it comes to someone like Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, maybe even Jack Della Maddalena, maybe Shavkat, I think he loses those fights, if I'm being completely honest. The only one there I'd maybe, you know, call it a 50-50 is him and JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. I'd like to see that one, but I don't believe it'll be next. But I think it'll be his next fight, and I think his next fight will be against someone like Leon, maybe Usman. Yeah, I think he loses it. I think he's quite good. I think in a few more years he's going to be much better. He's still only quite young. I think he'll improve a lot more. It's just because he's so far up in the rankings, so young. I still think he needs a bit more experience, and I don't think he's as well-rounded as some other fighters who are up there right now. And then this next one, I don't know if he's still on the UFC roster, but I just included him anyway. Mokaev, we don't know if he's actually gone yet. He said he would fight for free if it means could keep his job. So we'll see what the crack is. But I thought would include him anyway because, you know, he's so high up in the rankings. He's an established name now. Mokaev, I believe he would lose his next fight. Who would he fight next? Maybe Pantoja. If not Pantoja, then maybe the loser of Royval Taira. I don't know. I think he's gonna. I just think he'll lose his next fight. I really aren't on this bandwagon of Mokaev. I don't believe he's that great. He's a snooze fest against Mokaev, and Mokaev didn't fucking throw anything. Tim Elliott was beating him until he got the submission. Alex Perez fight was a bit of a stinker as well. I just don't believe the hype with this guy, and I think he loses his next fight. After this, we've got a big one, and that is Shavkat Rakhmonov. When do I believe he's going to lose? In about 3 or 4 years, I think he'll get the title. He'll get a few defenses, maybe 4 defenses, something like that. And how I can see the downfall of Shavkat, his chin ends up going. He doesn't have the best of defense. He doesn't have the best of head movements. He eats a lot of big shots. He has a great chin on him. But a chin only lasts for so long. And I don't know. That's how I see the downfall of Shavkat. I think he's got it all. But Just his defense is a bit scary, and you'll have plenty more people coming up by then. I really want to see a fight between him and Islam Makhachev. I think that would be quite interesting. But I think Shavkat in about 3 or 4 years. Now we've got Bo Nickal. I'm not on this guy's hype train either, but I feel like the UFC are being very, very safe with who he fights next. So I'm going to say Bo Nickal's got 4 years. I do actually think, although I'm not on the bandwagon right now and I don't believe a hype and I don't rate him that much, I do think he's going to be one of those, he is quite young. I do think he's going to be one of those who starts to improve a fair bit as we see him fight. Every single fight we see him in, I think he's going to improve a fair bit. He's shown he's got some decent knockout power when he knocked out Val Woodburn. And obviously he's got the grappling credentials. So I think, maybe in about 4 years when he starts getting to the rankings and, he's got to go 5 rounds and he's fighting people more, well-rounded and experienced, then he'll start to struggle. But I believe the UFC are going to take their time with Bo Nickal, so I'm going to say about 4 years. Now we move down to the flyweights, and I got Tatsuro Taira. And I think he loses his next fight. He's scheduled to take on Brandon Royval. I think Brandon Royval is very well rounded. He's very experienced now, having 2 fights with Pantoja, two fights with Moreno, a fight with Kai Kara France, Perez. He's got many fights. Mateus Nickal, I believe, as well. It's just he's got many names, that he's been able to experience in the octagon with. I just don't see Taira beating him. I want that to be the case, but I just don't see it happening. I think Royval's a lot better than Alex Perez, a lot more well-rounded, can go the distance. And Taira's only 24? He's the same age as me. So I feel like he's going to lose, and I do think he'll come back in the future. But I do think he's going to lose, get his first loss against Brandon Royval later on in the year. We then have someone who a lot of people are very interested in, including myself, and that is Payton Talbott. And I believe he's going to lose his first fight in about 3 years. I feel like he's going to skyrocket for the rankings, and I do think he'll be the real deal. I only think he's going to fall at the hurdle when it comes to maybe a number 1 contender spot or the actual champion, the champion itself. I'd like to see a dream matchup with him and Sean O'Malley. That would be quite fun. Just we haven't really seen enough of him. He's very young as well. I think he's a year older than me, mid-20s. A lot of people are very, very hyped about this guy. I understand why. I just want to see more of his overall game. I think it was in his first UFC fight. We saw him get taken down and handled a fair bit, and there's a fair few grapplers in that bantamweight division. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with them. So I'm going to go in with about 3 years. And then we move on to Umar Nurmagomedov. And this is the first time this is happening, and it's very bold of me, but I'm going to say this guy's not fucking losing. I think this guy's got his head screwed on. I think he's a very intelligent fighter. He just proved me wrong and many other people wrong with his performance against Corey Sandhagen. I think he's going to be undefeated, if not forever, but for a very long time is what I'm trying to say. I think this guy's the real deal. Very well-rounded. I know people like to bring up, including myself, I brought it up. He got dropped by nobody in his, before the Corey Sandhagen fight. I think he would have learned a lot from that, and I think the person stepped in on a few days notice, which obviously doesn't play well for Umar either, but he's only 28. I think he beats Merab. I think he beats Sean O'Malley. I think he is the real deal. I think he's got a smart team around him as well. I think this guy's going all the way. He might maybe lose if he goes up in weight, possibly, but it's too early to really tell. But bold prediction, I'm going with never for Umar Nurmagomedov. And then I wanted to finish off with the only champion on this list, which is Ilia Topuria. I love Ilia Topuria. He's one of my favourite fighters. I find him dead interesting to watch. I think he's dead entertaining. Yeah, he's a bit of a shithouse and can be a bit annoying with disregarding opponents and, stuff like that. But other than that, I think he loses when he moves up to the lightweight division. I don't think he'll lose. I don't know how he's going to go with Max Holloway, but I think I more favour Ilia Topuria. I think he'll maybe defend his title maybe a couple of times, maybe get a defence in Spain or something like that, move up to the lightweight, and if he comes across Islam Makhachev, if he's still the lightweight champion, if he's not already moved up, I think he loses to Islam Makhachev. I feel like Ilia could lose to a handful of people in the lightweight division just because of how much bigger they are. We saw him struggle a lot with Jai Herbert. I know you could say he's improved a lot, which I do agree, but I don't know what it is. I think he will end up struggling at lightweight. But yeah, I think Ilia first gets a loss on his record when he moves up to the lightweight division. And that's when I think these undefeated fighters will lose the O on their record. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree. Let me know if I've missed out on any undefeated fighters as well. I probably have missed out on a couple. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.